Yeah, I mean and Justin Sun, like you mentioned, has donated $75 million to World Liberty Financial. That, of course, is the Lutniks and the Trump family's Trump coin. Witkoff, excuse me, you're right. Witkoff families, who is keeping us safe right now. Sort of combined, I would say probably just like, I guess I wouldn't say. I would understand if somebody else has said, and I've probably heard someone else say this, so I'm just repeating what I've heard. Clearly just like a way for the Trump and Witkoff families to receive bribes.
Yeah, I think the way I put it recently, I think it was in The Nation, was that, this could be a bribery vehicle if there were to be one for Trump. Like, this is the easiest way, really, probably for someone to pay off Trump, is just to either buy World Liberty Financial tokens or just send crypto to one of their wallets.
I mean, something that we've seen since Trump has come in this second time is this crazy sort of like, I don't know if I would call it bribery. I guess you would call it bribery. But all of these like TV networks and all of these law firms either paying Trump directly money, like I think it was Amazon Prime or Amazon,
with the deal with Melania.
Tens of millions of dollars for Melania documentary. All these other, like I think it's like CBS, whatever, like just paying off, basically just like giving him money so that he kind of leaves them alone. And in turn, like all these law firms making these insane deals to do pro bono work for him and to donate all this shit for him just so that he wouldn't come after them. And it's like, you've got all of that happening, and you've got all these crypto people who are just seemingly directly just paying to get charges dropped. And there's another character like that who is more of a political figure we'll get to in a moment, who is a mainstay on this show. I mean, and so what were the people like that you saw here?
So there's sort of the crypto elites, like the ones we've talked about so far, and then, I mean, there are some normies. They claim that 35,000 people attend this thing. Some people you talk to, maybe it's hard to get a complete survey or anything like that, but don't seem, there seemed to be some disappointment perhaps among some people. I even heard after my article came out, I heard from like a couple sort of crypto OG types that they're not really comfortable with where things are at now. But not that anyone really speaks up much. But you also have what it feels like is also there are all these like vendors and people just sort of trying to tap what remains of like the retail population, a retail trader population, which has been perhaps like boosted a little bit by the influx of kind of MAGA normies, I guess you'd say, or like regular MAGA folk who are like now see buying Bitcoin as like a gesture of their Republican or MAGA identity. So there's a lot of like, ridiculous T-shirts and Trump gear and all kinds of stuff. And a lot of like products sold on top of, or just meant to kind of soak Bitcoin holders, like loans and insurance and self-protection services. You can get trained in Switzerland by an Israeli. If you
I get trained in Switzerland by an Israeli?
Yeah, there was.
What?
I forget the name of the service, but I went up to this guy and he like has a video about. Well, obviously you guys have talked about the kidnappings and stuff.
Yeah.
So some of them are worried more about self-custody now if they're like holding their own crypto. So they're very.
I don't know if the Israelis haven't been too good at getting hostages out.
Well, there is that. Well, this guy told one of my friends, he's like, well, they're very big on self-defense.
God.
So it just like it doesn't feel like, I guess, I mean, they may argue differently. Again, like obviously I'm this like outside critic, but it doesn't feel like there's any real innovation or like not much new. It's just kind of like new ways to sort of soak people and new stories to tell. And the news story now is like we were all being oppressed and like we were all victims of lawfare. Like everyone is saying this. Like every politician, Eric Adams, when I saw him speak, was saying this. Like
Mark Andreessen.
Yeah, they're all like, Trump is the biggest victim of all of lawfare, but he won and he saved us. And sometimes it's in this almost religious language, but like really they feel thankful towards him and we've all experienced it because we weren't allowed to trade Bitcoin or crypto how we wanted to, but thank God now Trump's in office and we have our economic freedom restored, and that's about as far as the thinking goes on that. But that was what they were all saying, from like Cynthia Loomis down to like regular people on the floor there,
which is so crazy because they were not being. I mean, it's not as if like they were getting like persecuted over the past like 4 years or something. Like nothing even close. I mean, that's what drives me crazy. I get that in order for them to keep the show going, like you say, to keep the casino, people coming into the casino, you have to kind of get bigger and bigger and crazier, right? And like do crazier and crazier stuff. And that is kind of the Michael Saylor playbook, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But like, it's not as if there was that big of a crackdown. It's just that now the like all crime is legal. And that has been the kind of like wink and nod from the administration. It's sort of like, okay, for the next 3 years, and now with the passing of the Genius Act and like whatever else might be coming down the pipeline with that like everyone is saying, okay, you've got 3.5 years, all crime is legal, let's go. Time for everyone to fucking loot this joint.
Yeah.
Before the lights go out.
I think that's totally right. And, you know, even just walking around, I was walking around, I was like, oh, there's Justin's son who had his SEC case dropped. There's Paulo, who can now travel freely to this country. Or there's Arthur Hayes, who was just pardoned. You know, he's one of the founders of BitMEX, which was like an early corrupt crypto company. And he's sort of known as a charmer and stuff. He had a party that I didn't manage to get to, but I'm not sure. I heard there was also a party at the house from The Hangover, and they hired like a Michael Jackson impersonator, Mike Tyson impersonator.
To reenact the movie Hangover?
I know.
On! You guys are such losers.
This is one of the problems is like, I don't know, the aesthetics of all this, or like what, like you're not even having like a good kind of fun.
That's like
and
Funko level.
Like
to
all
me.
the art is just sort of atrocious, or you could just like buy Ross Ulbricht's prison clothes, which were hanging in the art gallery section.
Like the Hard Rock Cafe.
Yeah, but like the whole thing is like, yeah, there's no, I don't know. I'm not a man of great taste necessarily, but I'm like, everything had like the plasticky Vegas feel, you know?
Yeah,
and, like,
I mean, I think it's very fitting that it takes place there.
Yeah, it was so on the nose.